Battle through the heavens, Grand World. Chapter 171 Helpless Compromise. How can it be fine? The blood flowing in your body is also the blood of the Shao clan, and it's also the descendant of the old ancestor. You can't deny this. After Shao Yan finished speaking, the Great Elder glanced at the former and said, "Since the Shao clan of the Great World looks down on the people of Fighting Key Continent, that's good as well. The people of the Shao clan of Fighting Key Continent have no intention of joining the Shao clan of the Great World. We can't afford to climb the Shao clan of the Great World. Today, as the patriarch of the Shao clan of the Fighting Key Continent, I will meet you, Great Elder. We will meet again in the future, and we will be strangers." Xiaoyan's mood was unusually calm at this moment. He cupped his fists and bowed deeply to the Great Elder once again, and was about to leave the ancient hall. Ridiculous. When he saw that Shao Yan was about to leave, the Great Elder's expression suddenly turned cold. His furious shout had already reached Xiaoyan's ears, causing the latter's heart to tremble. He couldn't help but slow down his pace. "Your surname is Shao. Whether it's the Shao clan of Fighting Key Continent or the Shao clan of the Great World, we are both ancestors. The deepest part of your body is still the same blood. This place can be considered your home. Why don't you acknowledge this place?" The Great Elder's voice was like a furious thunder that resounded in Xiaoyan's ears. The latter just listened silently, but the expression on his face didn't change at all. The voices of opposition from the family are at most just some idle chatter. Why do you care about that? A true expert would not care about what others say. I believe that you have a deep understanding of this in Fighting Key Continent. There's no need for me to say more, you should be able to understand it. Sighing, the Great Elder walked over and whispered into Xiaoyan's ear. The heavy voice seemed to be telling Shao Yan about the old man's feelings. Shao Yan stopped in his tracks. He heard what the Great Elder said. After a long silence, the Great Elder didn't say anything. He just looked at Shao Yan quietly. Everyone has their own way of living. Although the Shao clan in the Great World is powerful, this kid still has his own way of living. You really don't need to pay attention to the gossips. However, it is also a heavy burden. In the future, there might be more Fighting Key Continents that can be used to advance to the Fighting Key Continent. As for those descendants of the Shao clan, if they want to return to the Shao clan, this kid has no objections. Taking a deep breath, Shao Yan turned around and said to the Great Elder in a deep voice. As if he knew that this was the best outcome, the Great Elder revealed a trace of a smile on his face. He was already quite happy that he didn't make Shao Yan and Shao clan turn against each other. According to Shao Wang, this little guy was the champion of the pill competition of the Spirit Heaven Mansion. His strength was only at the Monarch Spirit level, and he already had the ability to concoct 5th-ranked medicine pills. Just based on this point alone, Xiaoyan's potential value was even higher than some ordinary Monarch Emperor level experts. According to the Fighting Monarch of Lower Realm's super strong talent, if Shao Yan could smoothly reach the Emperor cultivation, he would be able to rely on his powerful alchemy skills. It might be of great help to the Shao clan, but if he was lucky, Shao Yan would be able to reach the Monarch cultivation, which would be a great help to Shao clan. It was worth more than a heavenly venerate. No matter what, he was willing to soften his tone. He would try his best to make a bet. If he made a mistake, there wouldn't be any loss. If he made the right bet, it would be a great help to the Shao clan. Seeing the Great Elder nodding with a smile, Shao Yan didn't know what to feel in his heart. He pursed his lips and said in a soft voice, "Since that's the case, Great Elder, please send someone to the new Emperor world to wait. After I enter the Fighting Monarch, the strength of some of my close friends and family has greatly increased. With the talent of some of them, they should be able to enter the Fighting Monarch." Great Elder nodded his head. "You don't need to tell me, I will make arrangements for this." The current Shao clan, although this isn't the most prosperous era a million years ago, it is still very powerful. It won't be a problem for us to cultivate a few fighting monarchs. Xiaoyan's heart ached when he heard this. Although the Great Elder didn't mean it, it sounded extremely ear-piercing to him. The Fighting Monarch that stood in the lower realm was like a baby beast that was about to be fed. Although he knew that the Fighting Monarch had the same status as a doge in the Fighting Key Continent, Shao Yan still sighed to himself. This was also the reason why he didn't want to submit to the Shao clan. The dignity of the Fighting Monarch would never allow him to enjoy the charity of others. However, those who had reached the fighting monarch without much training might only lack this pride and pride. He nodded helplessly. Everyone had their own way of living. If it was the Shao clan of fighting Qi continent. With the advancement of the fighting monarch, even if they chose to live a peaceful life in the Shao clan, Xiaoyan had no right to scold them. While he was pondering, Xiaoyan suddenly frowned and looked at the great elder. Just now, you said that 1,000,000 years ago, the great world was in chaos. What soul demon is causing trouble? The great elder, who had indirectly convinced Xiaoyan, was also in a good mood. After hearing Xiaoyan's words, he thought for a moment and nodded. That's right, according to ancient records, 1,000,000 years ago. The disturbance caused by the ancient soul demon was caused by the spirit domain's beast race. It turned spirit domain upside down, and in the end, it was the combined efforts of a few domain lords. That was the reason why the soul demon's leader, the 9 witchcraft disciples, was completely sealed. After that, the scattered soul demons were all destroyed. They haven't appeared for millions of years. The 9 disciples of the witchcraft tribe. Xiaoyan's expression changed when he heard this name. He instantly recalled the forest where black-robed man and barbaric bloody lion met at the border between Spirit Heaven Mansion and Huayang Prefecture. The mysterious black-robed man had said before he left that the 9th disciple had awakened. Could it be that their leader had broken through the seal? I wonder if the great elder knows the name Gu Wu. Taking a deep breath, Xiaoyan stared at the great elder and spoke anxiously. Gu Wu. The great elder frowned when he heard this. After pondering for a moment, he shook his head and said, "Kid, you heard these strange titles from there. What is Gu Wu?" Xiaoyan did not answer immediately. Instead, he said in a deep voice, "How terrifying is the soul demon?" The black-robed man they met in the forest could only control the barbaric bloody lion. It was likely that he was just a subordinate of the Gu Wu clan. Obviously, he could not grasp the true abilities of the Gu Wu clan. The 9th disciple had definitely come prepared this time. It was extremely likely that the great world would once again fall into the chaos of 1,000,000 years ago, and he would be able to understand some of the terrifying aspects of the soul demons. This would allow him to think about it in advance. After hearing Xiaoyan's words, the great elder's expression changed slightly. He seemed to have thought of something, but he still gave Xiaoyan a suspicious look. After pondering for a moment, he slowly said, "The soul demon itself is extremely weak, but its terror lies in its control. They can use a strange method to cause beasts to mutate, and thus be controlled by them. They can also control people whose minds are not firm or whose minds are twisted for their own use. In the past, it was said that a soul demon whose strength was only at the monarch cultivation had directly controlled a son of the nether domain's domain lord, who was at the peak of the heavenly sovereign. After that, that guy actually has the ability to compete with the ultimate saint expert. The most terrifying characteristic of the soul demon is the ability to turn a dead body back into a living body. In other words, it can gather a trace of yin qi from a fallen expert and pour it into a corresponding corpse through a strange method. That corpse would awaken and possess more than half of the expert's power when he was alive. In this aspect, it was best to do it. The 9th disciple. In the past, one of the 9 disciples had actually awakened a domain lord of the primordial era through the reincarnation of a corpse. Possessing the terrifying power of a saint, just thinking about it makes me feel terrifying. The great elder recalled the introduction of the soul demon that he had once read, and shook his head as he spoke. So the 9 disciples aren't the same person. Xiaoyan mumbled to himself and looked at the great elder. There was a trace of sweat on his forehead. He let out a light laugh and said with a bitter smile, "There's no need to think about it, fear has already appeared." Chapter End. Battle Through the Heavens, Grand World. Chapter 172 Advancing into a Divine Weapon. After listening to what Xiaoyan said, the great elder could no longer remain calm. His face turned pale, and he looked at Xiaoyan solemnly. His voice was trembling slightly. "Don't talk nonsense about this kind of thing. Are you sure that black-robed man said the name of the 9th disciple?" Xiaoyan nodded without any hesitation. If he had suspected that the Gu Wu and soul demon mentioned by the black-robed man were not the same, after hearing the great elder's description of the soul demon, Xiaoyan was certain. How is this possible? The soul demon that disturbed the great world in ancient times has appeared again. Gu Wu changed its name to show its determination. Smiling with some difficulty, Great Elder was like an ant on a hot pan, pacing back and forth in the ancient palace, pondering what this matter would cause to the great world. After a long while, he suddenly laughed lightly. What am I worrying about? Why am I here alone? The soul demon has reappeared, and it is facing the entire great world, not the Shao clan. After a pause, the great elder looked at Xiao Yan with a serious expression. This matter is of great importance. Don't tell anyone else about it. Otherwise, it will definitely cause a disturbance. Perhaps, the Soul Demon clan will be forced to move ahead of time and escort that disciple of the Purple Radiance sect. I will also inform Xiao Wang and ask him to remind that disciple not to leak any information. Xiao Yan nodded his head when he heard this. However, in his heart, he was sneering at the Soul Demon. In other words, the Guwu general was the common enemy of the entire great world. However, the first thing that the great elder thought of was how the Shao clan would seek wealth in this crisis. After that, the Shao clan would be under full martial law, and when the Guwu clan moved out. When the entire world was caught off guard, the Shao clan would be able to deal with them with ease while the other major powers were busy dealing with them. They would become the major powers that had preserved their strength in this war. It would definitely play an important role in the development of the Shao clan. Although he had thought of the great elder's thoughts, Xiao Yan had no intention of exposing him. The great elder was doing this for the sake of his own family. Everyone wanted their own family to be better. There was nothing wrong with what the great elder did. As for the other powers of the great world, they weren't related to him at all. Why should he tell them what he needed to do now? It was to quickly increase his strength, and when the Gu sorcerers attacked, to have the ability to protect the person I love, that's enough. To love all living things, Xiao Yan was not that noble. He also didn't have the ability. By the way, show me your ruler when you were fighting in the teleportation hall of Yuanyi City. The great elder came before Xiao Yan and stretched out his hand and said with a smile. What? Seeing the shock on Xiao Yan's face, the great elder teased, what do you think happened in Taiching Mansion? When you were messing around in the teleportation hall of Yuanyi City, some experts of Shao clan already knew about it, but I have instructed them before. That was why they didn't attack. Otherwise, do you think a puny monarch spirit like you can cause a ruckus in the Taiching Mansion? Xiao Yan could only smile helplessly when he heard this. With a flip of his hand, the blue flame ruler appeared in his hand and was handed over to the great elder. The great elder gently caressed the surface of the ruler with his palm. He couldn't help but nod his head slightly. After feeling it for a moment, he spoke with some surprise. This ruler is forged from gray flame iron, right? This is really rare. I didn't expect that the aura would be so strong. The blacksmith must also have extraordinary strength. After a pause, the great elder waved it a few times. He carefully felt the vibration in the air and said softly, it seems that this thing has already reached the peak of spirit weapon. It's not much weaker than some heavenly soldiers. After saying that, the great elder raised his head and looked at Xiao Yan. Since you're here, I'll give you a big gift. How about I help you strengthen this spirit weapon into a heavenly weapon? Xiao Yan was delighted to hear this. He was a little surprised and asked, once the spirit weapon is forged, won't it be completely formed? It can actually be strengthened. The great elder waved the blue flame ruler and nodded his head in satisfaction, saying, ordinary spirit weapons naturally can't. However, the gray flame iron is a rare and excellent material for forging divine weapons in a great world. You should also know the unique memory ability of the gray flame iron, right? This was simply the best material to become a powerful weapon. Moreover, as far as I know, there are some sects in the great worlds that have been passed down for a long time. Almost all of their sect weapons are forged from gray flame iron or materials of the same level. As he spoke, the great elder pointed with one hand in the air. A spatial crack the size of a finger appeared, and a wisp of golden flame suddenly emerged from within. Under the great elder's command, this wisp of flame was like flowing water as it gently covered the blue flame ruler, completely wrapping it within. Weapons at the spirit weapon stage only need a large number of origin monarch key and special forging methods to achieve the goal of strengthening. Lastly, we just need to seal the monarch skill within it. It will be a lot harder when the heavenly weapon is strengthened. It also needs a large amount of precious minerals, the path of forging. It was much more complicated than refining pills. Moreover, the number of blacksmiths was even lesser than that of alchemists. Many of the forging techniques passed down from ancient times were controlled by some forces and families. Outsiders simply had no chance to learn them, which also led to the scarcity of weapons above the heaven grade in the Great World. Even in the Shao clan, there aren't many heavenly weapons. While forging the Blue Flame Ruler with a skilled technique, the Great Elder introduced the Blue Flame Ruler to Xiao Yan. The surface of the ruler rippled like water under the cover of the golden flame. The Great Elder held the handle of the ruler with one hand and stroked the surface of the ruler with the other. A large amount of pure origin monarch Qi slowly flowed out from the center of the ruler and entered the Blue Flame Ruler with a special technique, causing the Blue Flame Ruler to shine even brighter. Xiao Yan stood at the side, and on the surface, he was fully focused on the Great Elder's actions. However, he secretly communicated with the Xiao Yi hiding in the Blue Flame Ruler in his heart. The message that the latter transmitted also made Xiao Yan feel relieved. Although there was no need for the Great Elder to harm him, he had to be careful in everything. If he found out that there was something wrong with the Blue Flame Ruler when the time came, there would be no place for him to cry. The difference between a heavenly weapon and a spirit weapon is that a heavenly weapon no longer needs its own origin monarch Qi to seal monarch skill. It can respond to the origin monarch Qi in the world on its own, as long as its owner's soul is strong enough. He would be able to use the monarch skill without limit. Moreover, the heavenly weapon could be used at normal times. The spirit weapon could be compared to the origin monarch Qi. It can't even be mentioned in the same breath. Buzz. After a while, the Blue Flame Ruler in the Great Elder's hand suddenly let out a buzzing sound. A sharp aura that could be vaguely sensed suddenly erupted from it, causing Xiao Yan's heart to tremble. This feeling was far from what an ordinary spirit weapon could have. Wiping away the fine beads of sweat on his forehead, the Great Elder looked at it. A surprised look emerged in his eyes as he looked at the Blue Flame Ruler. This wasn't the first time he had enhanced the spirit weapon to a heavenly weapon, but this was the first time he had encountered a spirit weapon that required such a huge amount of heavenly sovereigns. As a heavenly sovereign, he could faintly feel a sense of weakness in his body. Alright, I've succeeded. Next, I'll seal the monarch skill inside. As he spoke, the Great Elder was about to withdraw the golden flame from the Blue Flame Ruler when a trace of crimson gold flame suddenly flashed across the surface of the ruler. In the next moment, the golden flame had already entered the Blue Flame Ruler, leaving the Great Elder with a shocked expression in his falling hand. At the same time, Xiao Yan could feel the excited squeaking of the Xiao Yi in his heart. Chapter End. Battle Through the Heavens, Grand World. Chapter 173 Heavenly Weapon Sovereign Technique Lightning Dragon Prison Domain. What's going on? Seeing the fire source of the Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame on the surface of the Blue Flame Ruler being swallowed by a crimson gold flame, the Great Elder's face was filled with shock. The Gray Flame Iron had the attribute of memory. Therefore, he could guess that when Xiao Yan's Blue Flame Ruler was formed, he had injected the monarch flame into it. However, he had never heard that the flame that was injected could absorb other flames from the outside world. Even the weapons that some experts used to inject lightning into the Gray Flame Iron could only be forged by lightning. They had never heard of being able to absorb lightning into their bodies. While the Great Elder was surprised, Xiao Yan had already mentally communicated with the Xiao Yi. Soon, Xiao Yan understood and looked at the Blue Flame Ruler with an unconcealable excitement. The Xiao Yi was the fire spirit of the Chaos Great Monarch Flame, and it could control the Chaos Great Monarch Flame just like him. In Elder Yi's illusion realm, the 9 profound golden thunder was the incarnation of the 3000 lightning monarch flame. Coincidentally, his Chaos Great Monarch Flame had the ability to devour the 9 profound golden thunder, and after a series of changes, he had obtained the 3000 lightning monarch flame. Currently, the combined strength of the Chaos Great Monarch Flame and the 3000 lightning monarch flames was still not a match for the Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame. However, it could easily absorb this wisp of fire source, just like how the 9 profound golden thunder was sealed in the Xiao Yi's body. First, it would seal this wisp of fire source, and when the time was right, it would be completely devoured, allowing the Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame to take shape. This meant that Xiao Yan had already reserved the Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame of Shao Clan. When his strength increased in the future, he would be able to use this wisp of fire source with his own strength, allowing the Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame to take shape in his hands, allowing him to truly possess it. When he thought of this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but burst out with excitement, but he still pretended to be calm on the surface. Facing the puzzled gaze of the great elder, he also pretended to be stupid and shook his head. Sighing helplessly, the great elder didn't think too much about it. It was just a wisp of the Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame's source of fire, and it didn't have any effect on the true Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame. Next is to seal the Monarch Skill Heavenly Weapon, the Monarch Skill. With your weapon forged from the Grey Flame Iron, I think you can seal the low-grade Monarch Arts now. What do you think? Have you decided what kind of Monarch Arts you want to seal? Recovering his thoughts, the great elder looked at Xiao Yan and said with a smile. Seeing the latter pondering for a moment before shaking his head, great elder pondered for a moment. He said, according to the battle in the teleportation hall in Yuanyi City, you have more than enough offensive power. Your defense is also protected by Monarch Flames. The two of them are evenly matched. However, your attacking methods are slightly monotonous. The ruler technique, Monarch skill, was only focused on attacking. The Monarch skill that did not have any supplementary abilities. Since that's the case, I have thought of a Monarch skill for you. Although it's only a high-grade Monarch spell, it will be of great help to you. It should be bigger than an ordinary Monarch Arts. After a pause, the great elder looked into Xiaoyan's eyes and said slowly. This Monarch spell is called the Thunder Dragon Prison Domain. Simply put, it releases a lightning cage about the size of a man, trapping the opponent and restricting his movements. In this way, your life and death will be in your hands. Thunder Dragon Prison Domain. Xiaoyan's heart skipped a beat. In an instant, he recalled the time when he was forced into a corner by the elders of Lei Clan. If it wasn't for Lien Yuntian's help, he might have already died in the hands of those bastards from Lei Clan. Thinking of this, Xiao Yan immediately thought of Lien Yuntian's tragic death. Immediately, fury erupted from his chest, and he took a deep breath. Xiao Yan's nails pierced into his palm. He was now much more mature than before. He was no longer the young brat who had charged into the Misty Cloud sect with a hot-headed head back then. He knew when to endure. He also knew when he should erupt. His current strength was far from enough. However, there would be a day when he would once again return to the forest domain. He would use the blood of the Lei clan as a tribute to Lien Yuntian. Nodding his head, Xiao Yan naturally had no objections. He had personally experienced the power of the Thunder Dragon Prison Domain. Back then, he was trapped by Lei Shan of the Lei clan with the Thunder Dragon Prison Domain. If it wasn't for the fact that he had used up all his energy, he wouldn't have been able to break through. Now that he thought of this skill, Xiao Yan still had a lingering fear in his heart. If you want to use this Monarch spell, you must have the lightning attribute. However, I heard that you used a lightning ruler when you were fighting in the teleportation hall. This Thunder Dragon Prison Domain is perfect for you. The Great Elder looked at Xiao Yan with a smile that wasn't a smile. He stretched out his hand and a golden scroll appeared in his hand. There seemed to be lightning swimming around. A weak electric arc gently buzzed. It was extremely dazzling. He quickly wrote a string of strange symbols in the air with one hand. The symbols quickly arranged into a mysterious pattern. Light suddenly appeared in the pattern. Under the Great Elder's control, the blue flame ruler slowly rose and entered the mysterious pattern. After that, it trembled slightly and those strange symbols quickly covered the ruler. At the same time, the Great Elder tore open the scroll in his hand. An arm-sized golden flame lightning dragon instantly roared out. Its body flickered with dazzling lightning, and golden lightning that was as thin as a strand of hair revolved around the golden lightning dragon's body. Seeing that the golden lightning dragon was about to escape, the Great Elder coldly harumphed. He suddenly stretched out his right hand, and a force that he couldn't break free from instantly captured him. As the lightning dragon wailed, his body gradually dissipated, and a blurry lightning cage slowly took shape. The Great Elder held his breath and focused his mind. A mysterious force gently pushed the lightning cage, allowing it to smoothly arrive in front of the blue flame ruler. Kai. The moment his lightning cage came to the surface of the blue flame ruler, the mysterious symbols that covered the surface of the ruler rushed into the lightning cage. In the next moment, the lightning cage seemed to receive an irresistible force, and slowly turned into a golden light that entered the blue flame ruler. With a light cry, the Great Elder waved his hand towards the void. The blue flame ruler had already taken the initiative to come into his hand. He casually felt it and seemed to be very satisfied with his forging. He couldn't help but smile and throw the blue flame ruler to Xiao Yan. He took the blue flame ruler and held the ruler's hilt in his hand. Instantly, a feeling that seemed to have merged with the heaven and earth was transmitted into his heart through his palm. Xiao Yan took a light breath. This feeling was indeed not something that could be expressed by ordinary blue flame rulers. The strength on the surface of the blue flame ruler had also increased by a lot. The surface of the ruler was faintly circulating with a golden red light, emitting a sharp and chilling intent that sent chills down one's spine. "Thank you, Great Elder." Xiao Yan bowed deeply to the old man in front of him. Regardless of the overall situation of the Xiao clan, just the kindness that the Great Elder had shown him just now was already worthy of Xiao Yan's sincere gratitude. Waving his hand, the Great Elder suddenly let out a heavy sigh and said, "Speaking of which, Xiao clan really owes Senior Xiao Tiankang of Fighting Qi Continent too much. All along, it was the descendant of Senior Xiao Tiankang who came to the Great World to help the Xiao clan, but the Xiao clan couldn't do anything to the Fighting Qi Continent. What happened today? It's just a piece of cake for the Xiao clan to make up for their guilt towards the Xiao clan in the Fighting Qi Continent. The current Xiao clan has changed along with the times. Some people's mentality has also changed. This is an unstoppable trend. Even as the Great Elder, I am powerless to change it. However, no matter what, the Xiao clan of the Great World is your backing to venture into the Great World. You can do whatever you want, no matter what. You are also the descendant of the old ancestor of Xiao Taiching. Therefore, the Xiao clan will always be the most powerful supporter standing behind you." Chapter End. Battle Through the Heavens, Grand World. Chapter 174 Star-Severing Mountain Range. Although the Great Elder's voice was deep and ordinary, Xiao Yan could hear a trace of sincerity from it. He smiled and did not make a sound. "I knew it. Given your character, you wouldn't stay in the Xiao clan obediently. It's good that you want to explore the world, at least you don't have to suffer in the family. Only when you are strong enough, no matter where you are, you won't be looked down upon by others." Narrowing his eyes and looking at Xiao Yan, the Great Elder also smiled casually. He sighed and said, "I will make arrangements for the matters of the new sovereign world. If there is a fighting monarch in the Fighting Qi Continent that can advance, I will bring them to the Xiao clan." With the Great Elder's words, Xiao Yan didn't know what else to say. He could only bow deeply to the Great Elder in silence, feeling mixed emotions in his heart. By the way, I would like to ask the Great Elder if he knows about the Yao Xuanji that was promoted to the level of Fighting Monarch 20,000 years ago in Fighting Qi Continent. Xiao Yan looked at the Great Elder with anticipation. The Fighting Monarch of the Yao clan was the closest to his era. It was also the only Fighting Monarch that he knew that had come to this great world. It was likely that he knew more about the secrets of the Fighting Qi Continent than he did. Yao Xuanji. Hearing this name, the Great Elder pondered for a moment. Nodding his head, he said, "I know a little." At that time, the number of Fighting Monarch that could be used to advance to the Fighting Qi Continent was greatly reduced. At that time, the Xiao clan also had a station in the new sovereign world. When he asked about the reason why the number of Fighting Monarch in the Fighting Qi Continent decreased, he didn't know what was going on. He didn't tell Nine Nether Monarch Bug about it, he only told him that the origin Monarch Qi in the Fighting Qi Continent was decreasing day by day. Therefore, everyone naturally thought of the possibility of the continent's decline. Hearing this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but smile in his heart. It seemed like what Nine Nether Monarch Bug said at that time was right. He would let go of some fighting monarchs once he was full. Presumably, this senior medicine sovereign's luck was pretty good. He just happened to catch up with Nine Nether Monarch Bug's break time and broke through, and just like that, he came to the Great World in a daze. Later on, I heard that he joined a medicine pill sect in the divine domain of Dark Flame. It seemed to be called the Cloud Pill Pavilion, but this Cloud Pill Pavilion had joined the Pill Alliance of the divine domain of Dark Flame 1,000 years ago. I wonder what happened to that Yao Xuanji you mentioned in the end. However, the Fighting Monarch of Lower Realm wanted to be an alchemist. Without the 3-step soul transfer, it is absolutely impossible to succeed. Even if it was the senior Xiao Tiankang who had broken through to the Fighting Qi Continent, his strength had reached a level that made people worship him. His soul strength had only reached the level of the illusory soul you mentioned. That Yao Xuanji definitely wouldn't have any achievements in the field of alchemy, but ordinary experts, or even monarch cultivation experts, are all unknown in the great world. Either he's already dead, or he's still fighting in silence. After saying so much in one breath, the great elder looked at Xiao Yan and said, "The fighting monarch of lower realm is extremely stubborn. Their strength is simply not worthy of the pride they have. Typically, the fighting monarch of the lower realms venture alone in the outside world. They basically fall before they grow up." When Xiao Yan heard this, he sighed helplessly in his heart. What the great elder said was the truth. The fighting monarch that had just arrived in the great world. Its strength wasn't enough to comfort its wild ambitions. It had the aura of supremacy. However, it did not have that kind of strength. Most of the fighting monarchs had fallen during this period of time. When he thought of this, Xiao Yan suddenly thought of Zhou Yuan. This fellow's shrewdness had made him admire him greatly. Despite being independent and without help, he had actually advanced step by step in the forest domain. He was also an extremely scheming genius. Thank you for informing me, Great Elder. I have more or less understood what I want to know. In that case, I'll take my leave now. After cupping his hands, Xiao Yan bowed deeply to the Great Elder once again, then turned around and prepared to leave. Wait a minute, you are going to Yunluo Academy, right? My grandson, Xiao Yi, is also there. That little bastard hasn't returned for a few years, I really miss him. Can you send a message for me? The Great Elder seemed to be asking Xiao Yan, but he had already taken out a black bamboo slip and placed it on his forehead. A moment later, a black light flashed on the bamboo slip, and a golden word Xiao fell on it. After handing the bamboo slip to Xiao Yan, the Great Elder mused for a moment before saying, I know that you are the holy rank trial of Yunluo Academy. There must be some things that you need to collect in the rules of the trial. Tell me and see what the Xiao clan can help you with. Xiao Yan was startled when he heard this, then he smiled and said, Great Elder, this is a trial for a kid, not a trial for the Xiao clan. If the Xiao clan interfered, there would be no point in the trial anymore. After saying that, Xiao Yan put away the black bamboo slip, turned around and left without hesitation. At the same time, the bronze gate of ancient hall slowly opened. Seeing the door close once again, the Great Elder couldn't help but sigh and shake his head. His figure had already disappeared from the ancient hall, leaving only a long sigh. Walking out of the ancient palace, the women who brought Xiao Yan in appeared once again. She stared coldly at Xiao Yan. Without saying a word, she walked out of the palace. Xiao Yan hastily followed after her. In this palace that was filled with formations, a single wrong step was equivalent to death. Jia. As the doors of the grand hall slowly opened, Xiao Yan once again stood in front of the main hall's doors. The only difference was that this silver-haired woman was leading him to the other side of the teleportation hall. Under the lead of the woman, Xiao Yan did not know what to say. He could only follow her obediently to the teleportation hall. The woman finally turned her head around and said in a cold voice, Transfer out from here. It is the border of the Taiching mansion. The Great Elder asked me to tell you. After leaving the Taiching mansion, there was a mountain range called the Star-Severing Mountain Range. I want you to be careful. After saying that, her figure disappeared. After hearing the woman's words, Xiao Yan was startled for a moment. Then, with a smile, he walked up to the transportation array in the hall. As the light surged, his figure had already disappeared. In the end, he didn't tell the Xiao clan about the matter of ancestor Xiao Zhan. With the strength of the Xiao clan, it was likely that they would be able to help Xiao Zhan recover very quickly. However, after some internal struggles, Xiao Yan still chose to complete the task himself. Xiao Zhan was the ancestor of the Xiao clan in the Fighting Key continent. As for the Xiao clan in the Great World, after the conversation with the Great Elder, Xiao Yan didn't really like it. However, it wasn't because of the rejection at the beginning. Besides, he had promised that he would personally revive Xiao Zhan. Although his current strength was far from enough, it was also a motivation to motivate him. Taking a step back, even if he asked the Xiao clan to revive Xiao Zhan, the resurrected Xiao Zhan might not even be able to reach the level of the fighting monarch. In this great world, with the mentality of Xiao Xuan's ancestor, who was once a proud son of heaven, whether or not he could maintain his high spirit and cultivate. These were all things that Xiao Yan had considered. Given his current situation, He couldn't even let the Shao clan take a good look at him, let alone Shao Zhan. In Xiao Yan's heart, he had already regarded Shao Zhan as his closest family. Only when he was strong enough could he protect his family and not allow them to be humiliated. The scenery in front of him gradually blurred. When Xiao Yan opened his eyes again after hearing what Xiao Yan said, the originally quiet Xiao city had already disappeared. What replaced it was a desolate plain in a mountain range that looked like a huge dragon. This was the Star-Severing Mountain Range, one of the 3 great mountain ranges in the Star Domain. It was 1,000 miles red and had a boundless territory. Chapter End. Battle Through the Heavens, Grand World. Chapter 175 Ambush. The flat sand is yellow into the sky. When Xiao Yan first saw the Star-Severing Mountain Range, this sentence immediately popped up in his head without any warning. The endless mountain range extended to the end of his line of sight like a giant dragon. The entire mountain range was red in color. On the mountain range, one could see a few dots of green embellishments. Most of them were desolate, and an ancient aura assaulted their faces. It was a feeling of desolation that shook their hearts. The boundless plain where Xiao Yan was standing at a glance revealed what he was looking at. There were only large swaths of barren land. There were also many towering mountains on the plain. However, compared to the Star-Severing Mountain Range, they were nothing. Whether it was in terms of scale or imposing manner, they could not be compared to the latter. This is the Star-Severing Mountain Range. It is indeed majestic. Looking at the red mountain range that was still rising and falling at the end of the horizon, Xiao Yan was deeply shocked. In the illusion realm, he had learned some things about the Star-Severing Mountain Range from Elder Yi. It was said that before the other domains were created, this place was a vast ocean. Later on, during the immemorial period, it was said that there were several almighty experts fighting here. A storm raged, and the mountains and seas were overturned. After a fierce battle, the ocean was filled up. The war between the various domains a million years ago had caused the sun and moon to lose their luster. In order to kill the enemy, a few experts from the star domain had changed the movement of the Earth's crust, causing the Star-Severing Mountain Range to surge out. Finally, they set up a formation and killed the enemy. Blood flowed onto the Star-Severing Mountain Range, and after absorbing the blood of the Supreme Saint, the Star-Severing Mountain Range seemed to have gained its own spirituality. It continued to extend and grow until it finally became a majestic mountain range that spanned across the southern part of the star domain. A million years had passed. No one knew when it had started. There were some treasures left behind by the Supreme Saint that had quietly spread here, causing many people to rush over. Of course, they did not discover anything. However, there were many spirit beasts here. Some dangerous places did not lack good things. Hence, a large number of people built their residences here. They formed the mercenary corps, which wanted to hunt for treasures. As time passed, there were more and more residences here, as this place was not under the jurisdiction of any prefecture. Therefore, some of the criminals had come here, and even more illegal items had come here to trade. In less than 100 years, this place was already a chaotic heaven. Xiao Yan could not help but smile when he thought of this. This place was simply a replica of the Black Corner region. It was not much inferior to the Black region in the spiritual Sky City. This place was a place where one risked one's life to seek wealth. After finding the right direction, Xiao Yan looked at the vast plain and the faintly visible red mountain range in front of him. The scarlet sun shone on the plain, making it look tranquil and rough. Xiao Yan's blood boiled in his chest, and his heroic spirit rose. He could not help but roar towards the sky. With a thought, the Xiaoao rushed out of his body like a flame. When he saw the scene in front of him, the Xiaoao was extremely excited. Its 4 hooves continuously stomped on the ground, and it could not help but roar towards the sky. Xiao Yan immediately felt the anger that he had been holding in his chest for several days disappear. He turned around and sat on the back of the Xiaoao. He shouted in high spirits, "Xiaoao, let's go." The Xiaoao could not help but become excited. It let out a howl. Its 4 hooves were like the wind as it ran forward. It heard the whistling sound of the wind beside its ears. Xiao Yan's mind relaxed. Starting from auspicious rich city, until he came out of the Shao clan, he had been carefully interacting with experts. Under their gazes, he had to do something that he had no choice but to do. It was as if everything had been arranged, although he didn't have to worry about it. However, that feeling made Xiao Yan feel as if he had lost the freedom of his heart. The anger in his heart increased. In this place, he had gotten rid of all the interference from the powerful experts. He was the only one who could do whatever he wanted. The feeling of having freedom in his heart made him feel good. At this moment, he was the real Xiao Yan. The Xiaoao was like a speeding flame that carried Xiao Yan as it sped along. At the same time, it released its inner emotions. The red plains, along with the flames, were filled with flying dust and dust, which gave the plains, which had been silent for a long time, a strange liveliness. The next day, Xiao Yan came out of a cave. The sandstorm that had swept through the night before had completely disappeared. The gentle morning light sprinkled down, making it seem especially tranquil and warm. The Xiaoao beside him also rushed out, bathing in the sunlight and appearing exceptionally lively. Swoosh! Suddenly, a rushing wind sound appeared. Before Xiao Yan could react, an iron arrow whistled over and shot towards the unprepared Xiaoao. The tip of the arrow flickered with a fluorescent light and was filled with a murderous aura. The Xiaoao, who was having fun, seemed to have sensed this sharp killing intent and was slightly startled. Its body moved, narrowly avoiding the iron arrow. The iron arrow flew past the Xiaoao's head. When it hit the huge rock behind Xiao Yan, the rock suddenly exploded. Rocks flew everywhere. The power of the iron arrow did not decrease. It continued to shoot into the distance, and didn't stop until it hit a huge rock 100 meters away. Xiao Yan's heart sank when he sensed the power contained on the metal arrow. This kind of lethality would cause him to suffer quite a serious injury even if he was hit by it. Although he did not know what would happen if the Xiaoao was hit, looking at the power of this arrow, it was obvious that it wanted to kill the Xiaoao with one arrow. When he thought of this, fury instantly surged into Xiao Yan's eyes. His eyes immediately looked in the direction where the iron arrow came from. About 100 meters away, there were a few huge rocks that were as tall as a person. These huge rocks were rugged and could hide from the enemy. Xiao Yan coldly snorted. With a flip of his palm, the blue flame ruler that had been strengthened by the Great Elder appeared in his hand. The sneak attack missed, and a few people walked out from behind the huge rock. Xiao Yan looked over. The leader was a hunchbacked old man with a snake-shaped walking stick. Behind him were 3 strong men. 2 of them were holding machetes, and the other was holding a bow. They were frowning as they looked at the Xiaoao, which was safe and sound. It actually dodged it. This spirit beast is not ordinary. The man with the bow looked at the Xiaoao in disbelief. He mumbled to himself. His black scale bow was a middle-grade spirit weapon, and that iron arrow had reached the level of a low-rank spirit weapon. He had also used all his strength to shoot it, but he had not managed to kill this fire horse spirit beast with a single arrow. If your skill level is not good enough, then don't find an excuse. What a waste, you actually wasted a precious black iron arrow. When the old man heard the middle-aged man mutter to himself, he coldly snorted and said. Looking at the 4 people 100 meters away, Xiao Yan narrowed his eyes. Among these 4 people, except for the old man, who might have already reached a strength that far exceeded that of an emperor, the other 3 middle-aged men had only just advanced to the emperor realm. This kind of strength. In the past, Xiao Yan might still be afraid, but now with the heavenly weapon in his hand and the toughness of his body, he was no weaker than any emperor. With Xiao Yan's strength of 3 monarch spirit, he didn't put these 4 people in his eyes at all. Since they had launched a sneak attack, he had nothing to say to them. There was only one word he could say to them: attack. With this thought in mind, the corner of Xiao Yan's mouth revealed a trace of a cold smile. He patted the furious Xiaoao's big head on the side. Xiao Yan's body moved, and at the highest realm of 9 revolving wind swimming was unleashed, and he rushed towards the 4 people in the distance. Chapter end. Hi guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.